Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Objective Viewers portion of the show. And I'm Joe Mauricio. This afternoon, we we have one big surprise for you. We are here live at Metro Med Pro, home health care or
MedPro Health Providers.
health providers. And my guest for today is no other than the founder and CEO of MedPro. No other than Miss Riz Villasenor. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Hey, this is a very interesting concept that you are doing. Something different that no other business is doing, making the company transparent to almost everyone who would like to see how you perform. And I was impressed with the transparency. You have people from the academia, from Juliet Junior College or what? And we have kids. I like that. And I didn't know that MedPro is providing education to the kids.
Yeah.
And most of all, the birthday celebration also is part of the thing. And Zumba, another program for your employees. And Riz is a good singer. You should visit Sandok and Palayok.
That's
So-
subjective assessment, but
So
that's
tell us, what makes you different from other home health care providers?
well. First of all, thank you, Joe and Veronica, for spending time with us. What Joe was alluding to was, I invited them to sit in our staff
Yeah.
meeting today,
Uh-huh.
and that's a staff meeting that we do every Monday. So we bring in everybody in the company, everybody in the office, and the marketing team. It's also open to the rest of the field staff if they're available. So to your question, what makes us different? We don't strive to be different. We just do the things that we think should be done by a company in healthcare. Okay, so before I founded the company with my partners many years ago, I used to work for a big corporation, and before that I used to work. My corporate experience was extensive. So the worst thing that I didn't like working for those companies is I spent time in the office, and you see a memo from management, and this is what needs to be done. So I don't like that, because if I'm spending time in a company, I'd like to be part, even in a small way, part of the decision. I need to understand why we're doing things. So that's why when we founded this company, we operate on the culture of transparency, a culture of trust and accountability. And those principles are based on our epic values, which we can talk about later. We ethical, people-driven, innovative, and compassionate. Those are the tenets, the foundation of what we do in our company. If that makes us different, there's no. It's not really a rocket science, As I explained in the staff meeting today, the values are core foundation of us individuals and as a company. That's the basis for our actions. As I explained in the staff meeting, when our kids are no longer a phone call away or a drive-by away, the kids gonna make decisions. And those decisions gonna be based on many things, but majority will be based on the values that we have inculcated in them when they were young. So corporations and companies are nothing different. They have to be founded on those values, because we're going to be faced with corporate decisions later on in our corporate life. And if you are not founded on the right values, then you will have a tendency to implode later on when you're faced with major decisions.
Where'd you get that value?
The values is based on brainstorming that we had, when we founded this company. We decided that the values has to last for a long time, because we don't change our values, which the company is founded on, every year, just like we change clothes. The values have to be consistent. When we were a very new company, we were just talking about this, and that's why probably we get a lot of interest from everyone who want to join our company, because the messaging was consistent. We are talking about the same things over and over again, and we're consistently hitting targets.
And I was with the marketing people making some reports. That's impressive. That number of hospitals are joining you, giving you patients. You're not that thing is really amazed me. You know, that big hospital are giving a small business like, well, you're not really a small business anymore. Part piece of the pie.
Yes.
You know.
Right.
And I was really impressed with that.
Mhm.
And your people loves you, and being loyal and look like they trust you in running the business. And to me, that's a big plus for
Mhm.
because this contributing to the success factor more or less in business.
Right.
You know, and you did a very you did a good well very well in running a company like this.
Mhm. Thank you. So, to your point, Joe, I'm so proud and humbled being the leader of this company.
Mhm.
When we found this company several years ago, we knew that we can make it this big and we can make it successful. But what we were not expecting is the trajectory of our growth.
Mhm.
That we will quickly like really transform ourselves, and we have a lot more people interested in us. So to your point about the question, it's a question of leadership.
Mhm.
And for me, leadership is founded on credibility.
Mhm.
You cannot lead if you're not credible.
Yeah.
That's key. And credibility is based, my personal take, on communication. You have to continuously communicate. You cannot follow a leader that you don't know what the leader is thinking.
Mhm.
You know, you have to continuously communicate and tell your folks that this is where we're going, this is what we want to achieve. And if you sit in most of our staff meeting, I don't sugarcoat things. If we have problems with the company, if you have a cash flow problem, I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell the team, and that's where you measure
Yeah.
the level of culture that you have achieved for the company. When there's a high level of volunteerism, if you have a problem and I tell them, and they say, we wanna work together. So there's no greater feeling for a leader than
Uh-huh.
to have a lot more people, the staff, like really rallying together. So I think its key is leadership, and leadership you have to be really credible. And to your point about the marketing, when we were starting, it was tough. It
Of
was
course,
tough because
yeah.
you go to this, regular referral sources, and you say to hospital, you say we are MedPro, and we have the best nurses. We're Joint Commission accredited. We have all this, and they're gonna say so are like hundreds of home health agencies. So the key that I really wanted to emphasize is we established early on our brand.
Mhm.
My
Good
son,
branding, yes.
my son who works in Wall Street, works in a branding company, always say this to me, that you have to be different. You have to be different so people can come to you. So when we were telling them we are good, and the important thing is to develop that the credibility. And once we started taking care of their patients, then we develop that relationship, and then we can tell them that we're also good in other things. So branding is key, is that we're good in this small thing, right? What's our brand? We started many years ago. We are the weekend admission specialist.
Weekend admission.
Yes, so that's a trademark that
Mhm.
MedPro owns. That's a registered trademark. So we tell our social workers, we tell the discharge planners that we are able to take care of your patients on the weekends, and that's our brand that we have been we had for many years. But you have to be able to provide the logistics to be able to say you're the weekend admission specialist, because if they refer a patients to you, right, and then you say no, we can take your patient, they're gonna tell you, I thought you were the weekend admission specialist. So that's very important to develop that credibility, really enhance your brand, and make sure that your folks and your staff understand that this is a challenging industry, and you have to make sure that they are still founded on the right values even after so many years.
So how many doctors do you have now?
As I showed you in the staff meeting, we're now working with over close to 400 doctors.
My God.
Because the reason why is because there's a ratio which I showed.
Yeah.
Is like
Patient
one
to doctor
patient
ratio.
to doctor ratio, and that's a key statistic that's
Mhm.
important. I call it, the cost of doing business right.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? When you're working with like over 400 doctors, you're working with a lot of orders, and then
Right.
with new Medicare requirement about
Oh
the
my
pre-claim submission, it's gonna be challenging, is if not disruptive to our operations, but I look at things in a positive way. If this is the things that's needed, then we have to adjust because our culture, and our culture and our values, third value is innovative. We're gonna adjust. We're gonna be versatile. We're gonna adjust to. You cannot change these things, from outward. This impacts to what you're doing as a company. These are the things that external. What you can change is how to react to this change, and what you can change is how you to prepare for this, changes.
You are a very successful home health providers, and some of the Filipinos went down the drain. What makes you different than them? Why did you succeed and why did they fail? And some of them are even going to federal prison.
Well, I always say that I love to cook, and as you know, in fact, we were serving some of my dishes today. It's the formula of cooking, right?
Uh-huh.
If you want to achieve a certain result, right? If you want to prepare a dish, then you have a
Your
recipe.
your caldereta, for
Yes,
example.
your caldereta, right? So there's specific ways you do it, right? I have my own way of doing it. So there's a legitimate way of doing it, so to speak, right? So therefore, the measurements, the timing on when you put the ingredients, the amount of time that you cook, certain parts of the dish. So if you expect the one result, then you do the same things that's needed, to create the same result.
Yeah, yeah.
Who said this? Einstein. The source of stupidity is to expect a different result and doing the same thing over and over again. How is our industry different? There's regulations. There's things that you need to do, right? If you treat this like a mainstream business, then you have to have a marketing strategy. You have to do the things, within the bounds of the law, right? The regulations, and it's no rocket science. Just do that, and you can expect the same result. If we hit targets, like if our census level, it's the same thing. I have a marketing strategy with my team, and this is what we need to do. So it's nothing different than running another company. We're just in the home health space. We're just in the healthcare space.
Business dynamics is the same.
Mhm.
So, how could we change? How could we make the failing home health business regain at least a respectable thing in the community by the federal government or even the states?
Right. You heard me in our staff meeting. You have to be in this business for the right reasons, right? You have to be in this business for the right reasons. And at the center of everything that we do, you heard me say this again this morning, is patient care. If you have that mantra, and if you have that, they might be saying, hey, you're talking about these things, probably, might be true, but our performance over many years, and if you've been with the company for many years, our staff, they know that I've been saying this consistently. You just have to make sure that you are in this business for the right reasons, and if you are, then you're gonna be guided with your own principles that you have to do things right. Because if you're in this for the wrong reasons, then
Right.
sometimes one of your your leg or foot is outside, right? Because you're saying, hey, if this doesn't work, I'm gonna do something else. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna go home or whatever, right? I'm 110% here. I love this. I love doing this. This is what, in my age, when I look at my life, and there is no better opportunity and better, way that I can spend my time now than being in this industry. Because I'm excited to come to work every day. I'm excited to work
Yes.
and surrounded with a great group of people with a great culture. And then, I go and sometimes visit our patients, right? I go with our nurses who visit patients, And if you know what's going out there, Chicago is a rich metropolis. Chicago, there's like a lot of there's a lot of richness around the city, but that's not the area of our operation. Where we operate are in the suburbs, where there's poverty. You see in the video, where there's poverty, where there's sadness, where there's pain, where there's loneliness. That's where most of
Yeah.
our patients are. And if you know our field, and if you know what's going on out there, you got to be in this business for the right reasons. Because if you're not, you can get out of the business and, be involved in other things.
Yeah, enough said, and that's the key to his success. So again, my fellow kababayans, I hope you take notes on what success is all about, and that is in the person of Riz Villasenor. Thank you very much,
Thank you, Joe.
Riz.
Thank you, Veronica.
Again, this is Joe Mauricio. Thank you for sharing your Sunday with us, and we are here live at MedPro
Health providers.
Health Providers. Marami pong salamat. Mabuhay.
Salamat.